Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast chat. And today, for those curious, I'm having bison, rice, eggs, and cranberry juice. Again, pretty typical breakfast for me. Not really a lot of variation in what I eat these days. So, I thought I would cover a little bit of the topic. A lot of people, when I did on Friday, after I did my training max on my squat, I came over and showed all my plates without stopping the camera, brought the camera over, and slid plates over so that people could see that I was using all Rogue calibrated plates. Now, I had a lot of people chime in and say, Jason, you really didn't have to do that. It isn't a real controversy. It's a bunch of goofy trolls. And no serious lifter didn't recognize that you were using calibrated plates. And I agree with that. No serious lifter. Anyone who's part of the lifting world in any way and not a complete noob, okay? Anyone who's not a complete noob knew those are all calibrated plates from the way that they look from the front. Like it's blaringly obvious. But it let me do a couple things, and I'm going to jump into the whole Jeff Cavalier thing in a minute. But number one, it's showing a little bit of transparency. I've done a lot of transparency on this channel in recent years. I've really tried my best to do so. I mean, I'm the only person who vlogs all of their training. People want to know how I got to elite lifts on things like squatting and deadlifting. It's all there. Yeah, I vlog every single workout. You can go back a year ago, 2 years ago, and see literally everything I do. I've done DEXA scans in the past. So, I mean, we have a lot of transparency here, and I bought all calibrated plates so that no one could make those sort of claims. That was actually the reason I bought those, was to eliminate that. But the thing to keep in mind, it's showing a little bit of transparency, which I don't think is a bad thing in this day and age. It's not a bad thing, especially when I'm trying to do my best to be as honest and straightforward as possible. These days, it's something I'm working very hard at. I think it's a good thing. The other thing to keep in mind, it's not just about knowledgeable lifters. Only noobs and idiots think that. But here's our issue. There's a lot of noobs out there. And if I have people running around claiming, oh, Blaha's using fake plates, and noobs see what I'm lifting, who don't know any better, maybe they will believe that. And that's not good. You know, because again, they don't know better. Then they get and they train for a couple of years and they come back and go, oh wow, I was fooled. That guy really wasn't faking it. And of course, the point gets brought up. Well, you know, the only way you'll stop the haters when you get on the platform. Well, let's get this straight. You can't stop haters. I can break world records in powerlifting. It's not going to stop haters. They're going to continue to talk. That's wasted effort. Number two, yeah, I will get back on the platform eventually, and we've said this numerous times. I'm just not going to discuss specific plans because there's been problems historically with me making my whereabouts known publicly. It's just not good. And it's not for the reasons that people think it is who haven't seen my videos of me discussing that. So we'll get back on the platform. But the other thing that it gives me is another fallback position. It's one thing when it's just me, but if some bigger name out there decides to pull that, there's an issue. There's a third party with millions and millions of dollars who has a reputation to maintain Rogue. By me showing that they're Rogue calibrated plates, anyone with a bigger name out there is technically slandering and attacking Rogue, because Rogue certifies all those plates. Okay, if those plates are off by an ounce, then Rogue is guilty of false advertising. And if those are very clearly labeled Rogue calibrated plates, if someone is out there claiming they're not real or that they're a fake amount of weight, that puts them in the potential to be sued by Rogue. So it also can deter bigger names from doing something that's stupid, because it's not like it's an individual who doesn't have money to draw. That's a big company. And if a big fitness person tries to make that claim, now that I've done that, and I'll do it again a few times every now and then, it creates a situation to where their hatred of me could put them in a very, very ugly situation, which I think is funny. It would be hilarious if it happened. So We have all of that. Then let's talk about the Athlean-X then. We had a controversy this last year. We had a controversy where Jeff Cavalier very, very obviously used fake plates. Every coach who's ever discussed it all agrees. They all agree. It's not even a point of contention. And the reason that bothers me is, and the reason I chimed in before, is that it upset a lot of my clients. Coaching is what I do. Okay, the YouTube is a minor part of what I do these days. The coaching is my real business. It's my real passion. I have a lot of clients who have worked very, very hard to get to a 315 bench or a 500 deadlift, or who are getting close to those numbers and haven't quite cracked them. Okay, here's where we're going to go with this. It's an insult to people who are really putting in the work, because Jeff doesn't train hard. Jeff is not someone who actually really trains. Jeff comes in and goofs off and does cardio and gets lean and diets himself down, starves himself down. He doesn't have very much muscle mass. He obviously doesn't train hard. He obviously doesn't train to be strong. It's very clear that that's the case. He's a physical therapist. It's his wheelhouse. But he's not big and he's not strong. Okay? And he hasn't put in the work. He hasn't. And it is really and truly insulting and belittling to people who have to get up and in front of your audience lift fake weights like that he can't lift. Jeff can't bench 315. He can't deadlift 500. And the thing that I thought was fascinating to me is someone who, again, has taken a dozen or more people to those numbers. I know what my lifters have in terms of muscle mass relative to their height. We can look at research on this. At Jeff's height, he does not have the muscle tissue on his frame and his levers to bench 315 or deadlift 500. He does not have the size. He does not have the pectoral size. He doesn't have the back size. He doesn't have the hamstring size to do those things. It's physically not there. You can look at him and tell. Jeff does not have a lot of muscle mass. Okay, Jeff has a lot of bicep. I'll give him that. Guy's got pretty dang big biceps. Decent sized delts. Not big, decent. And he's very, very, very ripped. To the untrained eye, he might look like he has muscle because of the amount of cuts that he has. He doesn't have a lot of muscle. And he certainly doesn't have the muscle mass to move that sort of weight. And that was later confirmed. You know, it was confirmed with the 425 grindy, horrible deadlift that didn't even look remotely close to his 500 easy double. And it was terrible. Like that, his 425 would not pass in competition. He had to hitch. He was grinding. He used technique that he says is bad, just trying to get the weight up, cheating the weight up any way that he could. And that wouldn't even pass in comp. That would be failed in competition. So he can't even deadlift 425. Faking 500 for reps. So why does this matter? So why do I need to show my weights? Because a precedent has been set by the biggest fitness YouTuber to use fake weights. And there have been others out there who, you know, I've had some beefs with in the past that I don't care to anymore, who have been somewhat guilty of faking some lifts. You know who they are. Okay, I think the point here is that if we want to have transparency, you know, when we're lifting, that if we're going to hold ourselves to a higher standard, a little bit of evidence of what you're doing. You know, perfectly reasonable. I don't think that it's unreasonable for all of us who are doing this stuff to show what we can actually lift. And me, I show it day in and day out. My missed lifts, my bad lifts, my failures, my PRs, everything, my work sets, it all goes up here. I have that transparency, but I bought the calibrated plates. I've invested money in them, and all those rogue training plates. I mean, I have about $3,000 tied up in plates right now. So I bought them to have it. Why not have the transparency every now and then? Just show it. It wasn't a big deal to do it once. And again, that's all that we need. People would say, well, could you do more with plates? There's no need. Those plates, because of the branding that I showed, are guaranteed. Like you're talking a lawsuit level guarantee. Like that would stand in court. Okay, we're good. We know exactly within a couple of grams of what every one of those plates weighs. Because again, that company has certified that with their reputation on the line. Okay. And I showed everything to show that they were the road calibrated plates. That's competition legal certified. So that is a pretty dang high standard of evidence. That is actually a higher standard of evidence than if I were to weigh them on a scale. Because weighing on a scale, people could argue my scale wasn't calibrated. I used a fake scale. Okay, you're not going to argue with a branded plate like that has money back guarantees and legalities tied up with it. You can't. We're good. So I felt like I needed to do that sort of transparency given the Athlean-X fiasco. That's the reason I actually did show it. Because again, he faked weights. And it was insulting and belittling to people who actually are strong and who do train for strength and aren't just skinny anorexics. It's belittling to them. And, you know, and it's insulting. So I wanted to have some transparency to show, look, this is what I'm actually lifting. These plates are real. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.